So we do record these meetings and then we post them on the website the following week. That way, if you want to share this meeting recording with someone, you can just send them the link to the website. Maybe there was something that you didn't quite catch. You can always go back and look for reference. So that will be available again later next week on the uh, Indiana Recovery Network website. And then, can everybody see the agenda? Couple head nods.
Yes.
Yes, no. Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so welcome to our monthly Recovery Network meeting. Our presenters today include Spark Recovery. We have Johnny Schaefer, who will be presenting about Spark. And then we'll have a presentation on the Integrated Reentry and Correctional Support, or IRACS for short. And that will be from the director, Shane Earhart. And then once the presenters are finished, we'll open it up for everyone to share information about your organizations, programs, if you have any events coming up, things like that. I do ask that you do please keep yourself muted until it's time for questions and answers. So after each presenter, we'll open it up for any questions y'all might have for that presenter, and then we'll go on from there. So let me stop sharing, and then I will also put the agenda in the chat. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat if you like. So your name, your organization, and email address. And then with that, I'm going to hand it over to Johnny to start us off.
Hi there. Thank you for having me. Share. Here I see.
It's slow. Yep, we got it.
We're in there. Great. So as Heather mentioned, I'm Johnny from Spark Recovery in Indianapolis. We do partial hospitalization and IOP programs. So click the one. There we go. So like I like to tell clients when I go to treatment centers, it's a step down level of care, which still has the accountability and the structure that we need to be successful, but the freedom and the empowerment to grow. There's the time to go get a job and then reunite with loved ones, pro-social activities. We have group therapy. I'll explain the schedule here in a little bit. Medication, we are methadone friendly. I know that's a barrier for a lot of people, but we will take clients with methadone and we're MAT friendly. And we have case management who helps find placement after they get done with our program. Okay, well, there's a typo here. So the first 30 days is Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I should say 2 p.m. And Friday and Saturday from 9 to noon while they're in the PHP program. And so then after 2 o'clock, the day's theirs to do, like I said, pro-social activities. We have Wi-Fi in all the units. Hey, Josh is here. We have Wi-Fi in all the units. We never take their cell phones. The point is to, grow and develop and to be functional members of society again. Our IOP, okay, so this is how it works with the IOP. It's also 30 days long, and it's from 9 to noon, and you have to just hit one of the 6 days of the week. So if you want to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever the case. And we do that specifically to cater to work schedules, because at this point in our program, you should be working or actively seeking work, because what else is going on with the additional time? We do take Medicaid, and we are in network with several providers. As mentioned earlier, we are MAT friendly, and we allow clients to take methadone if they're on methadone. We also take presumptive insurance as well. So if a client comes in from a treatment center on presumptive and they are on presumptive at the time, we will still admit them. The housing options. So we have a partnership with Reverie Housing to provide affordable housing. It's $100 a week. I was going to have Brad talk about it here, but he's not here. So I can answer any questions about housing on his behalf. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Johnny.
Okay, great.
Was that it?
That's it.
Okay,
I
sure, short and sweet. I'm sorry, did you have a question for Johnny?
I am here. Can everybody hear me?
There
Oh,
it is.
okay.
It just shows you his
Sorry.
ID.
This is from my phone and I'm completely not used to what's going on right now. I tried to log in on my computer.
Uh-oh.
So
If
that's
you were, yeah, okay, you got
that's
it.
Bradley Scott, our director of housing with Reverie Housing. So I'm
Is
going to mute
is
myself and let him.
is there a meeting link that I can jump on my computer with because this is giving me issues on my phone or a meeting ID number?
Forwarded
Hold
you
on.
the email and the Outlook. I don't know if that helps. I mean, I'll send it to you through email. I'll handle that.
You're gonna send it, Johnny? Okay.
I just need a meeting ID, Johnny.
Uh, I'll drop it in the chat. Well, I don't know. Can you see the chat?
I can't see anything. I have to like toggle between screens.
Okay, the meeting ID, if you're ready, is
I
five
am.
five four 918 5014. All right. So I think in the meantime, we'll go ahead. Did anybody have any questions for Johnny though about any of the information the quick PowerPoint information that he provided to us?
Absolutely.
Recording in progress.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Bradley, we see you now. Did you want to just provide some additional information about the housing partnership and what you provide there?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm Bradley Scott. I'm Director of Housing for Reverie Sober Living. We do provide supportive housing for folks who are currently enrolled in outpatient services. Our housing does begin at the PHP level of care. Typically, our main partnership is with Spark Recovery, but the option is still open for clients who are in a PHP program, let's say at ARC or RCA or wherever. We do allow them the opportunity to utilize our housing as well. Rent is $400 a month or $100 a week, $200 biweekly. As long as they are active participants in an outpatient program. They're abiding by all our rules and curfew and just our basic expectations of our housing program. Will allow them to utilize that housing for up to 60 days. Um, we, on the housing side of things, we do work on things like um, IDs and social security cards. We kind of we work closely with case management. So we'll transport them to and from uh, the BMV to make sure that they have IDs. Really, we just want to set them up. We want to set the client up for success by the time that they leave us to be completely ready and capable to handle the sober living environment. So we also want to address any food scarcities. So we do provide like a weekly small food bag, but then we also take them out to the food pantry as well. And then on the case management side of things, like at Spark, they'll be working with the client to hopefully get them on food stamps and all of that good stuff. Let me think. We're zero tolerance housing. I do have a pretty robust staff. We're staffed on all three shifts, 24 hours a day. Let me think here. Random drug tests, breathalyzers every night, and breathalyzers are also random as well. Sometimes we get them in the morning. We got this nice new fancy beautiful breathalyzer that helps us out a whole bunch. Let me think. So after their clinical services, we have it set up each day of the week that we take a certain a certain identified set of apartments. But we operate out of townhomes. Each townhome that we operate out of is fully remodeled. We basically go by NAR standards, so no more than 6 people to a single full bathroom. Our, proper amenities such as storage and closet areas, and then also square footage as well. I would say that our housing is very spacious. It's very nice, very comfortable. So the one thing that I can say that I pride ourselves on is that we have very nice amenities for these clients. Now, when they get back from their clinical services, so if we're working with a client that is a participant at Spark Recovery. So they're going to get out of Spark Recovery at 2 p.m. And then we basically have a routine for every day of the week. There'll be a set number of apartments that go to specific outside NA or AA meetings. So that way we can get them acquainted with the recovery community of Indianapolis. We really want to make sure that we're pouring into them and showing them the benefits of getting sponsorship and maintaining a solid recovery. Most of my staff members, or if not all of my staff members, I think except for one, are also people of recovery. So they all find great value in being able, to have a place in this field so that way they can share their experience, strength, and hope. I think that does a lot for the morale that we're able and the atmosphere that we're able to provide. Um, Trying to think. We take them, church is optional on Sundays as well. We do run programs, so we do transport them to Spark 6 days out of the week. It's Monday through Saturday. Friday is a half day, Saturday is a half day. Sunday is a day of rest. Yeah, and that's really all I can think of off the top of my head. I was kind of scrounging to get on this meeting the last minute, so forgive me for my presentation.
No, it's perfect. You provided a lot of really helpful information. Does anybody have any questions for Bradley? Shane, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that I understand. Do you only take, like, your intakes are only for those who are currently in clinical services?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. PHP is so it starts the beginning phase of the housing, it starts at PHP, and it can go up to the end of IOP or the beginning of OP. But at that 60-day mark, that's where we're hoping that they have participated in the program and really been pouring into themselves and they're kind of ready for that sober living environment.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, I have a
Uh,
couple.
this
Oh,
is
go.
It's Tessie with Bridges.
Thanks.
I don't know how to find my hand on here, so I apologize for kind of not raising my hand, but I just wanted to really just throw in a plug. Bridges of Hope steps down quite a bit of our clients to Sparks PHP, and then of course the partnering with the housing, and we get a kind of a white glove experience really. If we need anything at all, Johnny's always quick to be on it, make sure our clients get everything that they need and get settled in. If they are feeling any type of culture shock from stepping down from our level of care to the housing, Brad's always been on it to go and meet with them in person and make sure that they're comfortable and get adjusted well. So I just wanted to kind of give them that shout that they're doing some great things over there. The clinical programming gets a lot of good feedback to our alumni coordinator. So good stuff.
Thank you, Tessie.
Thank you. So I do have a couple of questions. So do you provide housing for men and women?
Yes, that's a good piece that I just left out. Yes, male and female both. We do. So we operate out of 19 units in a specific townhome complex. So every unit is a townhome. So let me kind of start there. They are all bi-level. So there's 2 stories. So there is staircases. Um, we we really want to make sure that the clients that we're getting don't have any high medical acuity or um, mobility issues because it would be very hard for us to care for them, and then also it poses a fall risk as well. And like our transport vans also sit a little high to off the ground, so anybody with like a walker or something like that, we probably wouldn't be a good fit. Now, yes, so we have male and female units. I believe that right now we have a capacity. So our full capacity is 110 clients. Our female capacity is somewhere, I think we just shifted. It's somewhere around like 45, I believe, and then the rest are males right now, but we kind of fluctuate given what type of census ratio we're experiencing at the time. Um, but yeah, so I had something else and then it just completely left my mind.
No problem. Thank you. That's really good to know. And then so what about if a person is on the registry? Do you provide housing for, no, okay.
And unfortunately, we cannot because we are directly across the street from a school and a park.
Mhm. Yep, okay. Good. It's just good to know that, right? So,
Yep. And I think it would be helpful to also add that we do like a background check. It's more and less like a my case. When we do I'm a graduate from the Progress House. Graduated from there about 3 or 4 years ago, I would say. And we kind of mimic their exclusionary criteria whenever it comes to any background checks. And it's pretty standard across the board. So anybody with 3 or more violent felonies within the last 10 years would go under some scrutiny there, and they would need approval from housing because we do, being that our staff are basically laypersons. We want to make sure that we're creating a safe environment for those who aren't specialized in a specific field and clients as well, obviously.
yeah, that makes sense. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Bradley or Johnny? All right. Well, thank you both for taking time out of your day to present. If you didn't already, please do add your contact information in the chat so folks can follow up with you. I did put Johnny's presentation in the chat too, so you can download that. It's available as a PDF file in there. And then next, I'll kick it over to our next presenter, Shane with IREX. If you're talking to us, Shane, we cannot hear you, but we can see your presentation.
It is my first day. I've never used Zoom or Teams before, so you have to forgive me. What I was saying, even though you couldn't hear me, is I know some of you, I've met some of you I don't. So my name is Shane Earhart. I am the director of the Integrated Reentry and Correctional Support, or IREX program, at Mental Health America of Indiana. And so Heather was so gracious to allow me to kind of take some time to talk to you about what IREX is, some of the data and stats behind how we know it works, and then some implementation things for those of you that might be interested or looking at how do we bring this program to our community. So the first thing that we identified when we were thinking about IREX was, what is the need behind it? And so what we found was that, jails have kind of become the de facto entry point into recovery systems, and also for, mental health conditions and things like that. So unfortunately, due to limitations on resources and things like that, a lot of times people end up in jail rather than, getting the help that they need. And it causes a challenge. And the biggest challenge is kind of connecting people to recovery early and keeping that consistency throughout their incarceration period. So looking at some of the NIDA, the National Institute on Drug Abuse stats, 65% of the United States prison population has an active SUD diagnosis. Another 20% didn't meet ASAM criteria, but were under the influence at the time of their arrest. So that tells us that, and we are pretty sure the number is probably even higher than 85%, but a very high majority of the number of people who are currently incarcerated in prisons and county jails struggle with substance use. In 2007, $113 billion was costs associated with drug-related crime. And we know through our data and research that connecting people with resources early on, like housing and employment and things like that, they build recovery capital and drastically reduce the chance of overdose and recidivism. So that created an opportunity. And what we see is oftentimes jail is the first structured moment when an intervention can occur. So we're looking at someone is arrested, they're brought into jail, and whether it, be that they don't have or see another option at that point, or that they're just tired of repeating the same cycle, we're able to provide those structured interventions when they first come into jail. Oftentimes when people get there, they're at their very lowest, and so they're more open to change. They want a different way, and many times it's just simply that they don't know how to get there. I know that from personal experience that there was many times where I wanted to do something different, and I just didn't know how to do something different. And so that's kind of where IRACS is instrumental in putting peer recovery coaches at very early interventions. Our program's based off of the SIM model, and we primarily operate in SIMs 2, 3, and 4. So that early SIM 2 intervention is key in making sure that we make those connections with people just as soon as they come in the door. So in case you don't know, IRACS it's a jail-based peer recovery and reentry model, and we put peer recovery coaches inside county jails. We are currently in 10 county jails. We operate through 5 regional recovery community organizations. A couple of those are regional recovery hubs for their region. But we place certified and trained peer recovery coaches at specific intervention points within the incarceration or the criminal justice system. Ideally, we want to meet with people as soon as they come into jail. So it looks different in different jails. Sometimes it's 24 hours, sometimes it's 72 hours. But our coaches are right there to provide those interventions just as soon as the jail will allow us to meet with them. And we provide things like recovery support and education, utilizing things like the IRACS Matrix Informed Model for Criminal Justice. So we run those groups inside of jails. We also run wellness recovery action planning groups, and then some specialized skill building groups. They are running some anger management groups, partnering with ICDAV to run some domestic violence interventions groups, and even things like 12-step yoga and things like that are being operated inside of some of these jails. IRACS does a great job of kind of coordinating the treatment and the resources, and then supporting that successful reentry back into the community, because ultimately that's what it's all about. You know, jail programs are great, and there's a lot of different programs out there. IRACS is kind of unique because IRACS doesn't stop when you leave the jail. So a lot of times you get a ton of support, a ton of education and things while you're incarcerated, but unfortunately that stops the moment you walk out the door. And that's the most vital point in your reentry period, is those first 24 to 48 hours when you leave incarceration. So looking at some of the core components of IRACS, again, it's peer recovery engagement inside the jail, those education and support groups that we talked about. Resource navigation is a huge part of IRACS. So we know that when people come into jail, a lot of times they don't have those very important identification documents, a birth certificate, a social security card, an ID card, any of that stuff. Without those things, when you get released, you can't get a job, you can't get a house, you can't get, assistance through things like food stamps and Medicaid and things. So our coaches begin work very early in identifying what are the key resources that people need when they come into jail so we can set them up for when they come out. And we've actually partnered with the BMV in a couple different counties to provide mobile identification services to those that are incarcerated. So we're able to get people IDs while they're still incarcerated in some cases, which is huge in their success once they're released. And then again, the key component is the follow-up support after release and kind of what that looks like. And we'll kind of walk through that here. So the timeline for IREX kind of looks like somebody's arrested and they're booked into jail. And again, that peer engagement is immediate after booking as allowed by jail staff. So as soon as we can make contact with a person, we're in there making contact with them. And if a person comes in after hours on a Friday and bonds out of jail, and IREX never gets a chance to meet with them while they were incarcerated, we're actually provided that information from our partner jails, and then our community teams will reach out to those individuals just to let them know, hey, we saw you, you were incarcerated over the weekend. Is there anything you need? Is there any way we can support you? And we'll actually do an intake and follow that person through reentry, even though they never had contact in the jail, which is another unique kind of component of IREX. While they're there, again, they'll get things like the care coordination, the resource navigation, setting people up to get into treatment is a huge thing. We work hand in hand with community corrections, probation, parole, and the courts and many pretrial service providers throughout some of our counties also. So we're actually getting people out into treatment, inpatient treatment, and supportive recovery housing. Through the judicial system, we're helping getting people released early into those recovery resources when it's appropriate and when the judge actually deems that it's appropriate. So our number one priority is community safety, and we're never going to advocate for individuals that are a danger to their community, or the judge or probation department deem that they're probably not going to be a great fit outside of the jail at that point in time. So we work pretty closely with our criminal justice and judicial systems in our counties to make sure that we're putting the right people in the right places. And then pre-release, you're looking at things like transitional recovery planning. So while they're there, they're going to go through some pretty intense recovery planning sessions. We're going to figure out what are your goals. We utilize SMART goals to make sure that people are actually setting realistic goals that they can achieve. And then those recovery plans will kind of shift as they look at their next step in reentry, whether that be the Department of Corrections or the community. We support people through their transition and their families through the transition to the Department of Corrections. So we're able to actually provide informational packets to IDOC as people are transitioning to RDC. We're sending their information to IDOC, so it's already there waiting for them once they get there. So things like recovery characteristics and goals, what they'd like to accomplish while they're in prison, maybe barriers that they might see or anything, are already communicated to DOC staff before the individual actually gets booked into DOC through RDC. And so DOC's utilizing these to kind of build treatment plans and things for the individuals while they're spending their time in prison. And then ultimately, if their reentry pathway is the community, we're providing connections to treatment, housing, employment, and then warm handoffs to community reentry teams. We partner with recovery community organizations, clinical service providers, other organizations, regional recovery hubs and things, to provide those wraparound services for people to make sure that they don't stop once they leave the jail. IRAC's reentry teams actually provide those structured follow-ups at 4 different intervals throughout their release period. And those are at 7, 14, 21, and 28 days at minimum. So we're making sure that an IRAC's reentry coach is contacting that person at least once a week throughout the 30-day period of their reentry. Once they hit that 30 days, then they would be given a warm handoff to the community team. Ideally, that's probably already done. They're probably already introduced to that coach. They know who they're going to be working with, and then their services would just simply continue with the community team member, and the IRAC's team member would hand them off at that point. And again, that's where a lot of the things like the identification documents, appointment schedulings, and things are identified, and those gaps and needs are filled by those IRACs and community reentry coaches. Just a quick kind of rundown of the workflow of what IRACs looks like. So once they're brought in, IRACs is a 100% voluntary program, so you can refuse IRAC services when you come in. That's not a problem. We don't take no for no at IRACs, so we're probably going to come back and check with you in a couple weeks just to make sure that there's not anything on your plate that we can help you with. Or a lot of times people not real sure when they first book in, they're either in detox or withdrawals or something, and they don't really know what they're not signing up for. They get back to the block, their bunkie tells them, man, you really need to connect with these people. So just because you say no doesn't mean that we're never going to come back and see you again. We're always going to round back to make sure if there's something we can do to help out. There's two different tiers to IRAC services. There's full IRACs and minimum IRAC services. Those are determined by your interest in groups when you come in. Our model is closely aligned with the Recovery Works billing model because that's how coaches get paid to provide services within incarcerated settings. So we want to make sure that we're setting our organizations up for success and they're able to actually, provide a paycheck to the coaches that are coming in. And so kind of walking through this model, is basically everything I just talked about, the peer support, recovery planning, skill building services and things, and then those 4 structured check-ins before discharge. Those are all taking place, from the time a person's booked in until the first 30 days after their release. The collaboration pieces that I talked about that IRACs provides with sheriff's offices, we do not have programs without the sheriff. The jail is the sheriff's house, and so without that support, IRACs doesn't exist. So we partner with sheriffs. We actually have support from the Indiana Sheriff's Association and other sheriff's organizations throughout the state they actually backed when House Bill 1296 came through around the accreditation of IRACs programs. We had the support of the Sheriff's Association, and several of our IRACs counties sheriffs showed up to testify on that behalf. We partner with jail leadership, judicial systems, and again, our main community partners are probation, community corrections, and parole, and then those treatment providers. We work hand in hand with them just to make sure that we're supporting their clients in the best way that we can. And then we also partner with problem-solving courts. When people come back on, especially when people come back on sanctions or something like that, the IRACs team's always there to provide that support. That a lot of times the problem-solving courts like to use our matrix programs and things to support their clients while they're incarcerated. So we're working with them constantly as well. And then kind of what implementation looks like. If you're an organization and you think, man, I think that IRACs would really be beneficial in our community, these are kind of a shortened form of the steps of what it looks like. Initial planning with the jail leadership and the IRACs organization. You'll be able to contact me. We can have discussions about, what the jail looks like. Do we have support from the community? Things like that. The program design and staffing, training and onboarding, and then our team is actually contracted to provide ongoing technical assistance and support. So we will always be there for our organizations to help them and guide them and kind of steer them in the right direction. If you're a data nerd like I am, you like to see stuff. And so these are actually third-party reports from Spencer Lawson and the University of Massachusetts, provided us an overview and evaluation, a program evaluation. And what we found was from 2021 to 2024, IRACs counties saw a 77% reduction in average rate of jail bookings compared to a 40% reduction in non-IRACs counties. So we're looking at about a 37% increase or reduction in jail bookings throughout that period. And what that means to your community is an 85% reduction in the average rate of emergency department visits and a 43% reduction in the average rate of emergency medical services interactions. So you're saving the community money. And these are all things that commissioners and sheriffs really look highly on, because if you can ultimately provide a better community and save your community money, then IRACs is a great investment for your facility. we use a tool called Academ H, and it's a computerized adaptive test for mental health. And what we found was people who were in contact with IRACs during their stay saw a marked decrease in every one of the metrics and severity scores. So things like depression and anxiety and PTSD were all reduced during their stay with IRACs. And then some of the internal metrics, just to give you an idea of how many people we work with, one-on-one peer support sessions by year. So we're looking at the highest is around 18,000. If you look at that total number, it exceeds 60,000 interactions over the last 4 years, not including things like care coordination sessions and recovery planning sessions. And you can see those numbers just kind of keep growing every year. And that's because we've added new organizations and new sites each one of these years. Again, the same thing with initial intakes. The reactivations are kind of the recidivism number and model. Those jump markedly because of some of the changes in the EHR, the electronic health record system that we use, and the way that we actually track participants. The third party evaluation noted that IRACS has a recidivism rate of 19%. So that's holistically across all programs, which is an amazing number. If you know recidivism, 19% is a great number. What Mental Health America of Indiana does is provide an accreditation model. And so this is where House Bill 1296 kind of factored in and put this in place for us. So Mental Health America of Indiana actually facilitates the implementation of the IRACS program in each county that wants to run IRACS. So what we do is we come out, we accredit the organization. We do that through things like policy and procedure review. Once you're partially accredited, you would be able to deliver IRAC services. We'll monitor those services for 90 days, do an organizational and operational review, and then you would receive full accreditation and be able to deliver full IRAC services as an organization. And we will help you through the entire process. That accreditation is good for 3 years. And then we'll be able to come back out and kind of reaccredit you after that term of accreditation. So the reason for accreditation is we want to make sure that each IRACS program in a jail is operating the same. We want to make sure there's fidelity to the IRACS model across all the sites. And we also want to make sure that we're protecting our participants, our peers, and the jail. Luckily, knock on wood, after 4 years, the IRACS program has not had one critical incident in any one of our jails concerning peers, participants, or jail staff. That's a number we brag on a lot because anytime you are taking most, if not all of our peers that are currently working for different organizations in the IRACS program have some sort of lived experience with addiction, substance use, mental health, or incarceration, or possibly all. As a matter of fact, some of our coaches are actually working in jails where they were once incarcerated. And so to be able to say that we've had no incidents like that is a real brag on the IRACS program. And it's a real testament to the need for accreditation to ensure that everything's running the same across all sites. And then also gives a peace of mind to the sheriffs to know that there is data that supports the effectiveness and efficacy of the IRACS model. And so when you bring the IRACS program to a sheriff, they know what they're getting. All sheriffs around the state are very aware of what's going on with IRACS, and we're constantly looking at expansion into new counties and new organizations, just to promote that consistency kind of across all of the jail-based peer support services that carry the IRACS name. And then those are just the references for the report, and that is my contact information. That QR code right there will take you directly to my my DocCard page, which gives you my name, email address, phone number, and things like that. I'll also drop that back in the chat just in case anybody needs it. So I think that is all I have. So I will stop sharing.
Thank you, Shane. Lots of really good information. Anyone have any questions for Shane about the IRACS program? That data was really good to see too over time from the launch to just the progression of things. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I love data, and the state loves data. And so anytime we can back up what we're saying and have data informed conversations about things, because I'm going to tell you how great this program is, and you're going to be like, yeah, well, he runs it, so he's probably just going to tell us that. But we have these third party, and we're actually getting ready to start a different evaluation using another party, just because we want to have kind of that complete projection of this is what this program is, and it's completely unbiased and unfiltered because it's not coming through us.
Right, exactly. Yes, lends more credibility, I think. So,
Yeah.
all right. Does anyone have any questions for Shane about IRAX? Like I said, I did put Shane's presentation in the chat, so that is available for you to download. If you're not able to access either of the presentations from the chat, let me know. I can email you those. But in the meantime, oh, okay, another person joining us. Okay. Well, thank you, Shane. And before we open it up for everybody else to share, I'm going to do a shameless plug of my own. We have a Advocacy 101 virtual lunch and learn coming up on the 29th of this month. It is no cost to attend. There is one CEU available. Registration is required though. So if you are interested in attending that or could share that flyer, I did put it in the chat with your networks, that would be really great. Lots of good information. Again, one CEU available. So if anybody is up for recertification, it's a good way. I'd like to think painless way to earn at least one CEU around advocacy. Okay, so I'll open it up. If anyone wants to share about your program, services you offer, if you have an upcoming event, feel free to raise your virtual hand or physical hand. Let us know who you are, who you're with, where you're located, and what services you provide. And I apologize if you hear the periodic drill that's happening where I'm at. I don't know what's going on. All right. Anyone want to share anything? No pressure.
Yeah, I would. I'm like, I can't figure out how to raise my hand on here either.
Aw,
But
you're good.
so my name's Josh. You may know me as working for Wooded Glen. Wooded Glen is owned by Summit Behavioral Healthcare, and we are now transitioning into a regional model. And so now I represent all three facilities that Summit owns in the state, which is also Anna Branch and Northern Path. So if anyone has anybody that they would like to refer to any of the three facilities, you can reach out to me at any time. I'll drop my info in the chat. Northern Path is in Fort Wayne, and Branch is in Terre Haute, and Wooded Glen is in Henryville. Altogether, we have 300 over 300 beds. I want to say it's like 318. We do provide transportation to any of the facilities, pick up any from anywhere in the state, and we'll transport to any facility that they want to go to. And we also accept every insurance carrier except for Medicare, obviously. Our biggest thing is that we are a 3.5 facility, so they do have to be medically stable and medically cleared before coming to us. If they are not to that point already, you can still give me a call and I'll help get them to somewhere where they can stabilize before coming to us. And I'll stick with them the whole way and make sure that they do admit with us, and I'll keep you informed the entire way.
Thanks, Josh. So, well, that's exciting about the merger. I
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah, no, it's
So,
super exciting. The other two facilities are absolutely great. So we're excited.
so will the other two facilities retain their original names, or will everybody now just be Wooded Glen, or how's that? Is there going to be a rebranding, I guess?
No, so yeah, they'll all still be called what they're called. It's just like, I guess you could say, like the reps, like our pitch will be different. So like instead of saying, "Hey, my name's Josh, I work for Wooded Glen," like now I'm gonna say, "Hey, I'm Josh, I work for Summit. We have three facilities in Indiana, and I can get somebody into any of the facilities."
Okay.
And then they're all still gonna be like their own entities underneath the Summit umbrella that we represent.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's exciting. So more to come. Maybe we'll schedule you once everything kind of happens and settles in. Maybe we'll do another, get you on the agenda to present and share more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love that. Just let me know when you have some availability.
Yeah, great. Will do for sure. Okay, well, thank you. All right, anybody else want to plug their organization, programs, events you might have coming up? All righty. Okay. Well, our next meeting is going to be Thursday, May 21st, 12 to 1, as always, same Zoom link. So hopefully we'll see you there. If you would like to present at an upcoming meeting, feel free to send me an email. Otherwise, I'll see you virtually next month. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.